I'm sure that many of you listening to me have seen things on social media that say things like, my mom or dad is an angel in heaven, or my sister is an angel in heaven, or some other reference to a loved one who's passed on from this life. Or, like many people, I've used the phrase, I'm only human, or I'm no angel, to try and excuse an action or a behavior that I've done in the past. Sometimes saying that we're not angelic beings is done to seek some form of forgiveness, or perhaps to simply explain away the failings of being human. But not anymore. Now, I really mean it when I say I'm no angel. Now, I also want to add that I never want to be one. Now, you may ask why. Well, the answer is both simpler and more complicated at the same time. But the reasons can all be found in the Bible. In John chapter 1, verses 1 through 3, it says, "In the beginning the Word already existed. He was with God, He was God, He was in the beginning with God. He created everything there is. Nothing exists that He didn't make." In Genesis 1:1, we see, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Now, these two verses correlate to tell us that until God made it, it didn't exist. That goes for the heavens and the earth and angels. Now, it also tells us that angels are created beings. They were created at some point after the creation of the heavens and before the creation of man. Now, exactly when, we can't be certain. What is the function of an angel? Essentially, their job is to serve God and manifest His will throughout the heavenly realm and the earthly realm. Now, we also are taught that there are several different types of angels. Now, the type of angel essentially depends on their level of command. There are archangels such as Michael and Gabriel. And there are also cherubim and seraphim, such as the cherubim with the flaming sword that God had placed at the entrance to the Garden of Eden to prevent Adam and Eve's return. So, essentially, angels are soldiers in God's army. When Christ was being tempted by the devil in the wilderness, He said that, "If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down. For it is written, He shall give His angels charge concerning thee, and in His hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone." That's in Matthew chapter 4, verse 6. As I mentioned a moment ago, when Adam was expelled from the Garden of Eden, cherubim were stationed to the east with flaming swords to prevent him from returning. That's in Genesis chapter 3, verse 24. Now, when John was on the Isle of Patmos and was being shown his vision of what was to come, he saw many different angels. It was angels that broke the seals. Angels heralded the harvest judgment, and angels prepared the bowl judgments or plagues that would be poured out upon the earth. Angels, everyone servants, servants all in God's army, all created by God and created for that purpose. Now, John also said that when he saw thrones with people given the authority to judge, he also saw the souls of those who had been martyred during the tribulation. Not angels, souls. These souls were brought back during the first resurrection, brought back to life, and they reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. Now, these were glorified bodies. These were not angels. They actually lived and they worshipped for 1,000 years, and they wanted nothing. So, the sole purpose of the angel is to fulfill the will of God. Now, why would I not want to do that? Like an angel, I am a created being. I am a being with the ability to choose. Now, one angel, as we know, chose not to do his job. He and a third of the other angels were cast out, and he became the antithesis of God. He became that which destroys man. Now, I wasn't given the choice to be human, but I was given the choice whether to serve God or not to serve God. And I freely made my choice to do just that, to serve Him. Why? Well, there's where it gets a little simpler. You see, when Christ lived on earth, and he was telling those around him about the kingdom of heaven, he said that he would go to prepare a place. He said that in John chapter 14, verse 3. Now, if he must prepare the place for me, then the fullness of heaven is not yet finished. My reward is still being prepared for me. My choice defined his preparation schedule. If you've ever bought a new car or a new house, you know the feeling that you have when you first turn the key in the ignition or open that front door to walk in. Imagine that same elation every day for eternity. Your new car smell, always there. Your new car never getting old. Now, yes, I'm going to live in a mansion in heaven. But even better, I'll be living in God's house. Now, the Apostle Paul wrote that we are children of God. And if we are children of God, then we are also heirs to the kingdom. And if we are heirs to the kingdom, then we are also joint heirs with Christ, the only begotten Son of God. And if we are all sons or daughters of God, then we all will have those glorified bodies, just as Christ obtained his glorified body at his ascension. You can read that in Romans chapter 8, verses 16 and 17. Now I say this, angels, you are wonderful beings, but you keep your wings, please. I want my glorified body. So that's why I mean it when I say, I'm no angel, and I don't want to be one.